Monday Night Football, it's back. The NFL returned this past Thursday. They kicked it into high gear this past Sunday, and now it's Monday. And you know what that means. It's Monday Night Football, which means Raw has their work cut out for them. And this is a massive battle tonight. Aaron Rodgers is leading the New York Jets up against the Buffalo Bills. And this is not the same layup Bills of years past. This Bills team has a different vibe, energy, character, and identity. Many say this Bills team has what it takes to possibly win it all this season. It's going to be massive. So WWE has two options. They can A, curl up in a ball and accept defeat, or they can B, fight back and act like everything is on the line, because it is. Because ratings-wise, you cannot dip another 1, 2, or possibly even 300,000 viewers of a drop. I have the preview for Raw tonight. We're going to go over it. You guys tell me if this is a show worthy to compete with the NFL. Nobody's saying they're going to beat the Jets and the Bills tonight in the ratings. We're saying, is Paul Levesque McMahon, is WWE going to at least compete, put together their best possible show to make fans want to tune into that? Because that's what we used to do back in the day, right? People speak about the Attitude Era. Well, it was so special because they were whooping Monday Night Football. With NFL competition, WWE Raw and WCW Nitro were absolutely rocking NFL to the core because Raw and Nitro was must-see TV. They were epic. You had to see every segment of both shows. You had the remote control in your hand, and your finger was firmly planted on that last channel button between Raw and Nitro. NFL, that was the third wheel. So tonight what you want to do as WWE, and if you're Paul Levesque McMahon, is you want people to at least, bare minimum, have the remote in their hand with their finger firmly planted on the last button. So when commercial strikes during the game, they'll at least give your show a chance. Just a chance is all Raw should be asking for. And when they tune into that show, you better be captivating them. Does this show have what it takes to at least try to compete? Does this show have what it takes to captivate an audience when and if they do tune in during commercial of that game tonight? We're going to go over the preview of Raw, and you guys are going to tell BC if this is a worthy enough show to watch, or is this WWE absolutely curling up in a ball and accepting defeat? Before we go over this preview, and I will go over some AEW notes as well for All In and All Out. We have the pay-per-view projected buy rate. You guys may be shocked by these AEW numbers. We'll go over that in a couple minutes. I first want to give a big thank you, a big shout-out, salute, to my amplified unit that caught the Green Bay Packer coverage over the weekend. This weekend was a big weekend on the channel. We started our coverage of the NFL, more specifically the Green Bay Packers. Will be covering all the games this season on the channel. When I can, a preview to that week's matchup, and for sure, a review. Like late last night, we put up the Packers-Bears review. Thank you to the hundreds that caught both the preview and the review. Even if you're not a Packers fan, a lot of you guys showed up and saluted the channel in BC, man, said what's up. So I appreciate that. And if you are a Packers fan, I hope you enjoyed the content. We'll be doing that going forward for sure. So big shout out, much respect to everybody that stopped by the channel this weekend to show that love. That was badass. Now on to tonight's big matchup. Bigger than the Jets versus the Bills, it's WWE versus the NFL. Because whether you like it or not, it's just competition. WWE is live sports entertainment, prime time. They're going against a live sports program, prime time. Just what it is. If Coca-Cola is on the shelf next to Pepsi, doesn't matter if it's 10 slots away, it's in the same aisle, it's the same product, you gotta rock out. Now, what they have planned tonight, and for those that say, BC, it's the NFL. WWE just has to take the massive L for the next 16, 17, 18 weeks and call it a day. That's not an option. You can't just curl up in a ball and accept defeat or not be creative for 18 weeks because football's on. They didn't do that back in the day, and they actually competed because they cared. They put together really solid, entertaining, fun, captivating programming. There's no reason we're not getting that these days. There's no reason we're just seeing Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Judgment Day every single week. Till the end of time, it seems. There's no reason for it. This is one of those situations where you have to put your best foot forward. You already aren't able to get back to 2 million. You remember last season when everybody said, well, they'll get back to 2 and even 2.5 once football is over. Well, guess what? Football's been over for 7 months, and WWE has not even sniffed 2 million viewers on Monday night, unless it was a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam go-home show or post. Other than that, they've even dipped as low as 1.5 and even 1.4 a couple of weeks. So what happens this season? Do they honestly go all the way to 1 million viewers left? Because soon we're actually going to be talking about WWE Raw pulling in Dynamite numbers. And that's not even a joke anymore. That's not even a ha-ha moment. After this season, we could honestly be speaking about Raw pulling in 1.2 and 1.3 on average, even after the season. Tonight, everything is on the line for Paul Levesque McMahon in WWE. So what do they have planned? Let's talk about it. Paul Levesque McMahon is going to go ahead with a Women's World Championship match. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. So you got a championship match. That should be a good thing, right? They're going to compete with a title match. That's the good news. The bad news, it's Rhea and Raquel. A rematch from just last week, Payback. I believe that was Saturday night, September 2nd. And from what I remember, it was lackluster. There was no chemistry and nobody cared. Rhea simplistically defeated Raquel Rodriguez. So we're just going to run it back for no real reason. Other than last week, Raquel just said, Rhea, Adam Pearce gave me my rematch next week. Well, damn, who needs to see Aaron Rodgers and the Jets versus the Bills now? We're going to run back a lackluster match from a week ago. That may seem harsh, but that's how many viewers are viewing this. Now, the two bigger stories, I feel, Cody Rhodes returns tonight. Now, we're saying returns. That's the wordage that WWE is using. He's only been gone 1 week since Payback when he was on the Grayson Waller effect. And he introduced Jey Uso going over to Monday Night Raw. And he's been gone for, 9 days? So he's returning tonight. Okay. It's always good to see Cody Rhodes. You guys remember, it was not long ago, I told you guys my sources were telling me that they have absolutely, not just not much, absolutely nothing planned for Cody Rhodes coming out of SummerSlam. And now everybody's realizing just how good my sources are because they literally have nothing planned for this dude to the point where they're not even filling in the gaps. They're not even like trying to throw something at him just by the show. They have nothing. They're keeping him off for a few shows. That he's mingling around with the Judgment Day 1 week, and then the next he's over with Grayson Waller on a different brand. He's talking about bringing Jey Uso over. It's all over the place. Nobody knows what Cody Rhodes is doing going into Fastlane, much less the Survivor Series. People are talking about, will it be Cody Rhodes going to SmackDown maybe for the trade? Because there's supposed to be somebody going to SmackDown because Jay did go to Raw. Cody Rhodes, it's all over the place. So he returns tonight. People are saying, but to what? What are you returning to? Well, this is what they also have planned. Gunther. They have a Gunther title celebration planned for tonight. Now, I'm hoping they don't mix the two and mesh it up, right? Cody's returning. Gunther has a title celebration, the longest reigning IC title. Salute to Gunther. I think it's much deserved, and there's nobody better right now than Gunther to hold that title and that prestige. But now is not the time for Cody and Gunther. It's going to be epic when we do get it, but that's got to be at a main event level, most likely for a world title. Not at a mid-card level with a mid-card championship. Cody going against Gunther does nothing for either right now. If Gunther loses to Cody, which he would have to, Gunther just lost to somebody that's already higher in prestige than him. He's losing to just a main eventer that is more main eventer than him. That does nothing for Gunther. It does nothing for Cody to hold an IC title when you just lost a world title matchup at Mania. It's like you definitely just got a consolation prize. That's the main reason you kept him away from this new World Heavyweight Championship. So it does nothing if Cody wins this match. And if Gunther beats Cody, you can forget about Cody versus Roman at 40 if you're going to run it back. It does nothing. In time, that match is going to be epic. Right now, stay away from it. Gunther has a title celebration tonight, and Cody Rhodes returns. Keep them separate. But what do you have for Cody? They don't know. We'll see. If maybe over the last 48 hours they came up with something to do with Cody going into the holidays. Also tonight, guys, Sami Zayn and KO will most likely be right back in there with the Judgment Day. That's what WWE's website is teasing. So we're going to see KO and Sami in the Judgment Day until literally the end of time, it seems. Over on the women's side of things for tag teams, Piper Niven is still not cleared from what we know as of the recording of this. So you got to believe that the rest of the women's locker room is going to be lining up and catapulting themselves head first, dome piece first, right into Adam Pearce's office to claim themselves new women's champion. Because isn't that what Piper Niven did? So the women's locker room would look like fools if they don't do the same thing. Chelsea Green alluded to it last week. The women's championships are pretty much just cursed. Or everyone else said that. Chelsea Green said, no, they're not. But now if Piper Niven isn't back tonight, and even if she is, nobody can get away from the fact that Piper Niven just claimed herself a champion. That's all we're doing now. So if Piper Niven is out, you can just line up and call yourself champion. Adam Pearce won't care. Back over to the men's tag team division, which is non-existent, but let's talk about that for one more second. They're also advertising Mick Riddle in tonight's Monday Night Raw show. Well, that's going to put asses in seats. You have Matt Riddle, Scooter McGee, Flip Flops Flanagan, tagging up with Drew Snoozentire to what? Take on the Viking Raiders again, and somehow Kofi Kingston is going to Steve Urkel his way into this? Because Kofi Kingston just looks like an absolute fool in these shows. He's going out there and he's kicking Matt Riddle upside his dome piece. He's being lawn darted like Carl Winslow used to throw out Steve Urkel on Family Matters, or Uncle Phil used to throw out Jazzy Jeff on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Last week, Kofi Kingston is being lawn darted into Drew McIntyre. Then afterwards, he's like, well, that didn't go as I saw it planned. Sorry, guys. Are we going to do this more foolish comedy this week? What are they doing with Drew McIntyre? Stop. This guy was going for world champ. He was the world champion at WrestleMania a couple years ago. And now he's playing around with Nail Polish Nelson, Flip Flops Flanagan, Scooter Stevenson. So look for that as well. Also, we'll see if Miz taking on you can't see him, but he's there, John Cena. Maybe that would be something that would captivate the attention of the NFL audience. Miz taking out an invisible John Cena. That was the most entertaining part of last week's program. Maybe they can run it back. That's the preview. That's what I got for you guys. Becky Lynch is going over to NXT this week to take on, is it this week or next week? Well, I think it's this week. She's taking on Tiffany Stratton. Maybe Tiffany Stratton shows up to Raw and they try to pump up that match for NXT Tuesday. But other than that, the women's division, again, Chelsea Green's got the tag title, but with no Piper Niven, or Piper Niven questionable, or even with Piper Niven, does anybody care? Raquel and Rhea is going to be the headliner for the ladies. Does anybody care? I don't know. Maybe. But not too promising, man. They really got to hunker down on the ladies division. I mean, it's promising, but you got to give them a chance. And that starts with proper booking. I don't know. This Monday Night Raw could be decent at best, and it could be absolutely miserable at worst. It's up to Paul Levesque McMahon to make this show reputable enough for people to have that last button ready to be clicked on their remote control, because tonight's football game is bringing it. It's not just on the ESPN network, which is cable. This is on network television, man. This is on broadcast television. This is across their ABC broadcast stations. So it's on cable and it's on broadcast. WWE's getting their asses whooped. How badly? Paul Levesque McMahon gets to decide. We'll see what they pull tonight. Real quick, guys. All in and all out, the projected buy rates are in. Now, all in is projected to be 174,000 in buys. That was supposed to be anywhere between 180 and 195, but we're hearing that's highballed. So we're hearing the actual number is more to 174. That's projected. It could go to 180, could go to 165, but 174 for All In. I thought it would be much more than that because they already had 150-ish. Maybe it was 160, possibly 140, but they had around 150 in early estimated buys. That's before the weekend even gets there. So you thought another 25 to 50 maybe. 174 is what they topped off at. I'm sure they were hoping for over 2 easily. All In, I would say, underprojects, and then All Out, or underperforms, and then All Out 1 week later is said to have pulled in 74,000 pay-per-view buys. Again, that was highball to 80 to 90. We're hearing it's more to 74. So All In a week earlier, 174,000. All Out 1 week later, 74. An exact 100,000 viewer decrease that ordered the pay-per-view a week later. You knew it was going to be a massive drop-off. You were hoping it wasn't going to be 100,000 people, but I just have to highly question why you would put 2 separate pay-per-views back-to-back. Maybe in the future, if you're going to do that, which I would resist the temptation to do such, maybe I would package the deal, maybe a 2-for-1 type pay-per-view deal, if you could work it out with the providers. Now, I did hear that All In, they were trying to get that on HBO's Max streaming, or the Max platform, but the technology wasn't exactly up to par, so they had to just place it on pay-per-view. If that's the case, then that's a bummer, but they should have had this planned way in advance, or never have that as an option. So I think All In and All Out, when it's all said and done, for pay-per-view buys, underperformed massively, especially All Out, and I just have to highly question the decision to put that back-to-back with All In. My name's BC Amplified. This is the Amplified channel. We cover pro wrestling and now the Green Bay Packers of the National Football League. It's really good to do some work with the NFL. They're providing a lot of advertisements now on the channel. Really cool. Appreciate that. And in the future, the New York Yankees. The BC Amplified channel will be the home of all Yankee coverage. That'll be starting in the 2024-25 season. 24 season, not in the 20. It's not like the Super Bowl, which you go into the next year into February. The 2024 season. So a lot more, man. We're going to expand the channel. We're going to have a lot more fun. We're going to kick a lot of ass, and we won't stay amplified. You know that. Until next time, and there will be that next time. The Amplified man saying check you. My unit. Peace.